Hello everyone, welcome to database class week 3, and we're live here now. I'm going to continue to talk about SQL commands, and last week we ended basically on the select commands. We did a little bit of a select. We did a little bit of we did insert, and we did update. And those are the three basic commands. You can select data from the database, you can insert a new row into the table, and then you can update any of the rows, including the one you just inserted. And we will continue to talk a bit, which we kind of already started. The first topic we'll talk about today is select with condition. And that is accomplished through the where command. So I did a little bit illustration last week. Basically, you can make a limited selection from the table and not the entire table if you put a where command. So I think the example we did was select everything from customers where country equals to UK. I believe we tried that and run SQL, and you see that we have 7 results because there were 7 records, 7 rows in the customers table where the customer is from UK. So that is how you use where. There are more complex ways. You can actually embed calculations and formulas and functions in where, but we're not going to discuss that because that's advanced topics. For now, just know that you can select where using where. So the next topic, and that's the where. And the next topic we're talking about is the order of selection that's returned. So sometimes when you have a lot of data that's being returned from the table, it's important, or it's useful, let's say, to be able to order a certain way. Like if you have a list of 100 names, like in a customer base, which we have 96 in my customer base, customer table, if they all come out in a random order, it will be very difficult for us to figure out. It's not so useful, right? So then you have to go and look through 90 names and figure out the one you want. Or let's say if you're looking for a specific person, it will be even harder if you have 1,000 or 10,000 names that comes out. So one of the things we can do is, and we can sort it by order. Sort of like in spreadsheet, you can sort something, and you can sort this, pre-sort this. You can sort the result of your query with the order by. Order by command. Sorry, let me redo this. And the order by, generally you can do it 2 ways: ascending, ASC, or descending, DESC. So let's simply try it out on our try it editor. So let's say I want to pull everyone from UK, which there are 7 records. It's not that long, but right now it's just randomly coming out because you see it's not by any kind of order. Or it's by customer ID by default, but it's not by customer name or the contact or address. Actually, it is by customer name by coincidence, but let's say it's not by address or contact name. What if I want to sort the contact name instead? So I can simply put order by contact name. And I say ASC, ascending. So it'll go from A to Z. Click SQL, and you see that the result is the contact name is sorted from AEHSTV. And if you want to sort it backwards, you can just do DESC, descending, and now it's descending. So you can sort anything by a column by putting in the order by command and the column you want to sort it by, and the ascending or descending. You can sort by multiple columns by by first column, then second column. So you can say by city, ascending, then by contact name, descending. And this should work. Sort by city first, and then sort by the contact name. You see the city Cowes, I guess that's how I pronounce. The Cow City is the first city in the alphabet, and London was the second one. So it listed first by the city first, and then everyone from London is then sorted by the contact name, because we said the city is first and contact name is second. If you want to do a city backward, then you can do this, do the city backward and do the contact name forward, and then click, and now the London comes out first because the city is from Z to A, and the contact name is A to Z. So you can do this with as many columns as you want, because sometimes the record is so comprehensive, so many records in a table, that the first criteria might result in multiple records. Then you can sort it on the second column, because if I remove the country, right, and then just do the whole table, then you will see. So do the whole table. First, I sorted by city, descending. You see this R house. That A character is not the English A, so I guess that in the character set comes after the W. That's why it comes up first. So you see Sao Paulo have multiple people, and then it's then sorted by the name. So you can do this if you imported the entire set of the result and put it in, let's say, in Excel, and sort it by column. But sometimes, well, you can't do that if you're programming, right? I guess you could put a result set down by script, by programming language, load it into memory and sort it in memory, but that's just more computing power you're using up. That's not necessary. So this way you can pull out the record in order that you want, then you can just go through and process them at one time. So that is how to sort. Let's go back to the notes. So number 3 is select with limit. I cannot write. Select with limit. So sometimes your query return too many records. Let's say if you want to search for, you only want to process 10 at a time, but you can pull out 1,000 records. So there's an easy way to limit the selection. If you don't limit your selection results, you might pull down 1,000 records, but all you're really doing is processing the first 10, and that's wasting a lot of bandwidth of communicating with the server, and also a server load as well, and also the memory locally. So if you only want to work with 10 records at a time, for example, just pull down 10 at a time. So what you do is, I'm using the limit 10 example. So example, I want to process 10 customer or display 10 customers at a time. What I want is, I want to display customer 1 through 10 first, then 11 to 20, then 21 to 30, so on and so forth. So what we do is, there's a limit command that's available. I'm gonna keep the order by on here, just add the limit, because the limit goes on behind order. If I go limit, and limit command has 2 numbers attached. One is the first record, 0. I'm sorry, with record 0. Remember, computers count from 0, not from 1. So limit 0, and then 10 records at a time. So limit 0, comma 10 means you're telling the database to return 10 records starting from record 0. And if I click here, you see that I have 10 records starting from record 0, because remember, this little A character is the first record in the table. So now, let's say this is the first page. After we finish processing or displaying the first page, now we want to display the second page. Then you will go from record 10 and then select another 10. So if you run query, you see now we're going from Sao Paulo down to Salzburg, because this is the second 10 in the database. And we can do, let's say, you will see a little bit overlap. So if we If I do 0, 10 again, you'll see that our house is the only records that's outside of the A to Z in English alphabet. So if I start from 1 and I select 10, I start with, then the result will not including the our house because I skipped one record because I'm starting from record 1 instead of record 10. So this is how generally how it works. So how do you implement this in script in programming language is that when you display something a page at a time, what you're really telling people, we are telling the database is I'm going to select page 1 will include record 0 down to record 10 or record 5 or record 20, however many you want to display per page. And the second page will start from the start the next group. So as a web programmer, frequently we're putting either JavaScript or any other kind of script to putting the numbers, the page number and the starting and ending number. We pass it to the script from the website, and the script will generate a query to select a small group at a time. This way you will avoid pulling down the whole set of data. And that's for efficiency and for quickness. That's really the purpose why we do the limit. All right, and that's the third topic. And the fourth topic, and I don't recall, maybe we discussed a little bit last week. Fourth topic is update with condition. This is also where, nope, not it. Sorry. I have some test records at the end, so it's the contact name and that's test. Okay, so select from numbers where contact name equals to test. Select, capitalize the test. So here we have 4 contact name. We have 4 records with the contact name test. So now I want to update all their zip code. This is what I did last week. And so now that I know I'm updating these 4 records, I can then change this to update customers set postal code equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I click run, it affected 4 rows. And now if we change this back into select, and now we should see the same, but the same 4 records, but I've already updated the postal code to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how you do conditional update. What would happen if I don't use conditional update? Then I would actually just completely change everyone's postal code to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't want to do that. So make sure you understand first, and when you pull down the right data you want to update or modify, then you go ahead with the update or modify using the update command. All right, so I think I did talk about this quite a bit last week. And then the 5th thing for today is selecting from 2 tables. Select from 2 tables, from multiple tables, more than just 2. And but we'll start with 2. So just as, and then the order table, if we can select from both tables, they must be linked by a key, and the key here is customer ID. So the orders also has a customer ID somewhere. And then there's other things. So we must link one customer ID to the other, and we link it by using a where command. So basically we're saying where the I'm going to shorthand it here, where the customer ID from this table is the customer ID of this table, and then we tell that to the query. So instead of handwriting it, because it's really difficult to do so on this screen, I'm going to just type it out. So you see we have customers and we have a customer ID field, and if we go to orders, we also have a customer ID field. So what we need to do is to select I'm going to break down into multiple lines. I like to write this in code this way because it's a little bit more cleaner. So I'm going to write down the where first because so where we have, that's the table name, dot customer ID, that's the field name, equals to customer, not customers, orders dot customer ID. So this way I'm really telling the SQL that the customer ID of the customer table, so the customer ID of the customer table equals to the customer ID of the order table. So that is how I'm linking the two tables together. So let's see how it works. First of all, let's do, well, I can't make this box any bigger, so let me just reduce a couple lines so you can see what I'm typing. So select star from, first I'm gonna type it out in a way that it doesn't work, and then I'll type it out in a way that it does work, unless it surprises me and actually works. So if you do select star, like usually from this table orders and this table customers, and where the customer and the customer ID are equal, that's really what should happen is that it should select every row from the orders, from either the orders table or the customers, and then pull in the data from the other table that's linked by this ID. I'm going to click. See, it doesn't work because it says no such column orders customer ID. And let's see. Let me see. What does this say in there? Save this. All right, let me try this again. There we go. So I missed a column. Like I said, it wasn't going to work. But I also had to add in the orders because if I remove it, so when I remove it, it actually selected and returned it. You can't see it because my window doesn't expand, but it actually selected and returns every column from every table, and that's actually not what we want. Or maybe that is what we want. But select everything. I'm going to make it shorter so you can see. Select everything from orders, comma, customers, where the two are linked. And so you will see that it's a lot more rows. That's because some customers bought multiple things, and we can illustrate this well if we look at randomly choose a customer. So instead of, first I set out the link here, and then I type in I only want to see one customer. So I want to see and customers dot customer ID. I only want to see the one customer. So customer ID equals to 1. Let's see if it bought anything. Click. Mistyped customer. No result because customer 1 did not buy anything. Let's see customer 2. Customer 2 did buy one thing, and you can see it here. So customer ID, employee ID, order date is 9/18, and shipped ID is 3, and then it bought something, right? So this returns both the customer on this side from the customer table, and then also the order from this side. And let's see if we can find one with multiples. There we go. So customer ID 4 actually made 2 orders. You can see that the customer ID here ordered on 11/15 and on 12/16. It's served by 2 different employees, employee 6, employee 8, employee 6 and employee 8. Employee 6 on the first day and shipped by employee 1, and then employee 8 on the second day shipped by the shipper number 3. So this is how you're selecting 2 different tables from 2 different tables. And we can get a little bit more complex too, because we don't know what the order is, because, right here it just says order ID, order day, but we don't really know what the order is. And let me copy this for a second. And if you go to the orders table on the side, you see that the order table doesn't really tell you what the customer ordered. It's simply index of the transaction. You have to go to order details. And the order details simply tells you what the product ID is. It doesn't still tell you what the product is. So, and you have to go to the products to see what they bought. So how can we make this query complex enough? Because now we need to pull in from more than 2 tables. So we have to first pull from orders from the orders table, customers from the customer table, order details from the order details table, and then product from the products table. And first we link the customer ID to the customer ID, and second we're going to link order. So orders dot order ID equals to order details dot order ID. This should give us a additional link, and linking in the order details table. I'm going to copy it and then run it. You see now here we have, on this side we have the shipper ID, the shipping information, the order information, and then followed by the customer information, and then followed by the order detail information. Right? It even told us that they bought chairs and 10 boxes and $18. So this way it brought in additional information. You see? So this is how you select for more than 2 tables. You just have to continue linking them. You're supposed to actually further link the order details, because order details dot product ID is going to link to product dot product ID. So now we established 3 individual links linking 4 different tables together, and then we're still keeping the customer ID as 4. And then we run it. Wait, products. There you go. Now we have the accurate. Customer 4 had two different transactions. On November 15, customer 4 bought 2 different things. And if you come to the end, it bought, I don't even know what that is. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. And then they bought this product and then bought this product. And then these are the information, and the price is called 4.5, 19.5 are the price. And on the second day, they bought, on December, they bought 3 different things. And now this time, these are the product name, and then these are the prices on the side. So, and you guys see that the query got pretty complex pretty quickly. So basically what you need to do is to, and you can, by the way, you can limit what you want to select by putting in the columns that you actually want to return, like we said. But in order to dictate which column to return, you have to do it this way. You have to do, say, product by product ID. You have to replace it with both the table name and then dot and then the column name. So you need to do, then in order to select from 3 different tables, you need to do the following. You need to still tell the query what you need to select. Then you need tell the query which tables you're selecting from. And then you establish link between the tables by linking one table's one field to another table's another field column. And then do that with all the tables that you want to establish a link with. Here we have 4 tables: orders, customers, orders, details, and products. And obviously we need links between orders and order details, customers and orders, and products and order details. So once you establish all the link by using these equals to linkage and then you can still add into your selection criteria and run the query, and then you will return the set of data that you're looking for. So remember the first assignment we did, and I have you guys break up a transaction table into multiple tables. If you did that in SQL, you will just have to write a query like this, and then you will be able to pull the data back into the original output. So how did I get the set of data to give it to you guys to break it up in the first place is using a query like this. I went into a multi-table database and pull out a set of transaction data into one single table, and I gave the table to you, and that's what you had as an example. All right, so these are the 5 things for this week. I know this is going to take quite a bit of practice, so I'm not going to give you much more than that, or actually any more than that. So first, select with condition. You guys should have practiced quite a bit. And then sort the result. Remember, ascending, descending order by. And then select with limit. Remember, first number is the starting order, and the second number is the how many records you're going to select. And then update with conditions. We did talk about that last week as well. And then lastly, selecting from at least 2 tables. 2 tables is simpler. 3 or 4 tables are much more complex. By the way, there are other ways to select things from multiple tables. Those are called joins, but I'm not going to talk about those because those are advanced topics. So let's just stick with selecting from two tables using the linkage by setting where one key equals to the same key in a different table. All right, so that's what we need to cover this week. Does anyone have any questions? And if while I'm waiting to see if there's any questions, if not, I will put up some assignments on exercises. So all you have to do is return you can try it out on this same database, and then you just have to submit the end query like as you have written it. So I will put that assignment up this week, and you guys will work on it. And as a reminder, next week is the last week of the class, so I will have one other set of topics I want to cover, and the end will just be for the purpose of final will just be a bunch of exercises, kind of like what we did last week and this week, and then you will just have to work on it on your own and submit your answers. And I will provide more instruction next week on that topic. Is everyone okay? I don't see any questions. And as always, if you have a question, please post it. I'll type it as well as I speak. If you have any additional questions, please post it to the forum and I will answer it there. All right, I know everyone is not on this live, and I know some people are not, and I also know that some of you have to leave campus, so I will try to, if you can attend next week's live stream, I hope you can, because you can still ask questions. If not, post questions ahead of time, and I will get the assignments up, and then you guys can also utilize Moodle and email or any other way that you can reach me to ask the questions. All right, I don't see any comment. I don't really see any comments and questions, so I will. Oh wait, hold on. Yes, I can. Well, I will respond, and I will also address in in the forum if you want, because that would be easier if it's a common problem with others. So please post it there, and I will post the answer there as well. Thank you. All right. Well, for this will be, of course, just like every other week, this will be saved for your reference. And then again, post your questions in the forum and I will answer. And until next week, have a good rest of the week and have a good weekend and work on these exercises. And I will see you guys next week. All right. Thank you and see you next week.